a little while. So yeah, hello Twig World. Um, so to get us started, I don't know if you guys have talked about it, so I'm just going to mention it because I'm pretty happy. The theme registry loader has been in for a while now, and related to that, someone I think it was Jeff Burns, yeah, found an issue with the theme registry itself, not with the theme registry loader, but we had a critical that just got fixed. I think it was yesterday.
The sub-templates were loaded in the wrong order or something.
Yeah, so that's
Base
good.
themes.
That's like because that was like one of the only Twig criticals. There's a couple kind of safe markup issues that were critical, but were not tagged Twig. So I kind of tracked those down a few days ago and tagged them. What else? Oh yeah, and just like for the registry loader, I think it was cool. Eating said on the issue that like he kind of thought that this is always how it should have worked, so I was pretty happy to see that. Like to me, that means that we made the right choice in moving forward for that or with that. And shout out to Mark Drummond for the actual idea and everything behind that. And also, we're like 99%-ish done the consensus banana phase 1, so awesome stuff. The kind of one thing that I might suggest that we discuss is that the only open issue there is the CK editor, which is postponed. And I was looking at it today, and I actually realized that I postponed it, and I don't remember why. So I'm not sure. I haven't had a chance to look at the issue that it's postponed on. Hey, David, we're just talking about banana and CK editor. David, do you happen to know any good reason why it should still be postponed, the CK editor banana phase 1 issue?
That was postponed on that safe markup one because I think it's completely rewriting the whole template.
Okay.
Not the whole template, just the buttons.
So, but
they turned into like a markup thing or whatever, and we're trying to get that one solved. But there was a markup bug we took out.
It's a normal issue, the safe markup one. It's not major, critical, or anything.
Not anymore. Something.
Okay.
Yeah. There was like a markup bug in there. There was a missing div tag.
I'm just wondering if it might make sense for us to just go ahead and, if it's reasonably easy, because I know that there's no patch yet on the CK editor.
Yeah, that one, I was looking at it the other day. I think there's like 2 classes. So if we're thinking that the safe markup thing might not get fixed anytime soon, we could probably just do it and deal with it.
Yeah. Am I cutting out, by the way, for other people?
Nope.
Okay, cool. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking too, David, is like if because we've had this happen in the past, even with Twig conversions, where it's like, oh, postponed or closed as duplicate because of this one, and then that just completely stalls out, and we're still left with like a half converted, or you know what I mean? So
so the safe markup one I know has a patch on it waiting for review. I don't know if it's done or not.
Okay.
But if we wanted to go ahead and do it, I think it's like moving 2 classes.
Yeah, like that's kind of my thinking, is like even if they need to re-roll, it seems like it would be pretty small tweak to the patch.
Yeah, so if you guys are cool with just postponing it and going ahead, I'm fine.
Okay, well I'm gonna do that then, because I kind of, looking back, like I kind of wish that I would have written in that comment a specific reason why, but maybe it was a major or something. Oh yeah, it was a major. Okay, that's probably why. It's probably because it was a major, but I'm not sure when it got lowered.
Something else got fixed in it to make things work, but we're still trying to resolve a couple of the issues that are remaining in there. So there is a bunch of attribute stuff related there, and I don't know what it has an effect on the classes. So just maybe skim through to look for classes before you on the CK editor auto escape issue.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of skim through and see if there's any classes that
yeah, I mean, there's
classy stuff.
Like button attributes stuff, but it doesn't really look like it's doing anything new. It's just kind of moving some code around. which could probably just be, it's almost looking like those lines could just be removed from
the main purpose of this thing now is mostly about the fact that they had a lot of markup that was kind of creating buttons in PHP, and we're trying to move it into the template.
Right, okay.
That's the main purpose of this issue now. It's not really CK specific. Or sorry, not more safe markup specific.
Okay. So it's like it's not really fixing the major bug anymore. It's just kind of refactoring.
Yes.
Okay. Well then, I mean, yeah, I think it's kind of whoever gets in first gets in first. So I'm gonna unpostpone it.
And we remove the fix on the markup with the stupid ending div tag that I think I probably missed.
Right.
But that's in now, I think.
So
yeah, it's in.
Ending UL. Okay. Yeah, I'm unpostponing right now and explaining why. And okay, very good.
Wouldn't hurt to point them at the other one just so that they can. Just make sure. Get another pair of eyes on that one too.
Sorry, like comment on the other one, you mean, or
no, just get a couple people to look at the safe markup one.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, just to kind of have a look at it, give some review on that even.
Yeah, like I can't review it right now, but I'm just looking class-wise. It looks like it looks like there's really only one part of the patch that would likely need to change with what we're doing, or what we will do, because there's no patch yet. So,
yeah, I think it's fine on postponement.
All right, very good. Thank you all. So, is there anything else that we want to talk about with phase one, or basically just CK editor and done? I know there's like that cleanup issue for the kind of miscellaneous trailing stuff, but I think even without that we can kind of consider it done.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And so does anyone else have any other suggestions for the agenda? Otherwise, the next thing I have is the file structure for templates inside Classy, because I figure we're all here, easier than doing comments back and forth, right?
Just before we get into that one, I just wanted to kind of, WebJect put out a tweet to give me a hand on testing something.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get rid of 2 functions for the authorized template, and to do that I need to fix the fact that you can't install modules in Drupal 8 or themes through the UI. And I have a patch in there that does fix things to some extent, and it would be nice to get some people to just give it a try and see if it actually fixes it for them. And any notes on that matter, because yeah, it should be good. It's WebCheck put a tweet out, and I retweeted it.
Okay.
This afternoon.
Can you post that in the chat as well, please? Just the issue link.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm following that issue that you're talking about to fix the installer, so which I don't know. I think I've just been following for a long time for whatever reason.
Yeah, because they were tied together at the hip. You needed one to see the other, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's true.
I have an issue right now. Is actually the installer when it gets to the end of it, you see like the word array in brackets because of safe markup type stuff, and this is an issue I'm not really sure how to fix with safe markup, but safe markup's storage is stored onto this in-memory array of safe markup strings, and when you pass it along through the batch process, it loses everything after the redirect. So you've saved a bunch of things as safe markup, and then you've passed it along through the batch process, and all of a sudden you get to the end and they're gone, so nothing's safe anymore. And so now when you get to the end of it, you don't see anything. So I think I might have fixed something to that effect in there by cheating, by setting the safe markup again at the end of there, but that's probably a security hole. So something checks we'll probably have to take a look at. But anyways, that's why you'll see, like, I don't know, array and then a bunch of links that are not links.
Okay. Yeah, it's a pretty small patch.
I made it smaller. It was bigger at one point.
And also, before I forget, just a shout out to Mark Drummond and Yele or whatever. Basically, the people that worked on the responsive image kind of refactor thing, because that it looks really good, and it also got rid of 2 theme functions. So
and Addix, yeah.
Yeah, Addix as well. Yeah. So happy to see that go in. So because we're down to I think 13 theme functions now. So we might possibly make it to 0 by RC1, maybe.
Or at least 2.
Yeah.
That indentation one's going to be a pain.
Yeah, like indentation and like the views field and all that stuff are going to be probably annoying, but yeah.
Indentation the attempt is going to be to remove it altogether and put it as some kind of JavaScript, but that's going to take some JavaScript skills.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I put your module installer thing on my list of stuff to review as well. So.
Sweet. The only problem that you might run into with that one is file permissions, because I cheat on my machine and my Apache user is me. And I put that as a note there, but just to kind of FYI, if it says FTP after you hit the installer, that's a different issue. But I don't know if we have to solve it in the same one. I don't run into that one.
Yeah, I do. I cheat too.
Good. You won't have that problem. I don't know why it goes to FTP, but that's like the default. It's like, oh, you don't have access, so here's the FTP screen. And then nobody knows what to do at that point. They give up and they say,
oh. Any other suggestions before we paint some bike sheds? No? Okay. So
you're just shouting about killing something. That's always a good thing.
Theme functions.
They're going down.
Nice. Yeah, so who wants to, Morton, do you want to maybe give us some background or some intro to...
Oh yeah. So
I've just kind of loosely been following, so...
Okay, yeah. No, we have a thread that is like 10 kilometers wide. Let me just find it here.
Yeah.
It's basically no. So this last week, over the weekend, we got we got all the templates over from system. So now suddenly we have a system folder in Classy, which make me go back and look at my notes and all the discussions we had back in Austin. And I remember one of the things that John Orban was very vocal about, and that was, if we do this, then we should actually remember to group the template files in a way that makes sense for theming instead of like following some obscure Drupal way of doing stuff. So I thought, hey, now we have all this stuff. Let me just begin to see what's in the system folder, and let's try to move stuff around. We see here, I got the URL here. And basically, the two ideas at first was either we just say fuck it and we go with a module created the templates go in here. So it would be template/classy/template/module name. Just drop the template files down there, and we keep it to how that is done. And then I began to look around into it. I was playing with a theme when it's not constantly fucking up because of Drupal dev. And then one thing I really fast came to the conclusion is that using whatever module name there is as the default place to organize our templates begin to make very little sense when we look at what a template file actually do, and it has little to nothing to do with actually what we're doing when we're theming. So unless we're just based on are we just organizing it by module because of convenience, or is there actually an idea behind it? And what I could see the more I got into it was there's we have like a folder called links, and links is a link modifier for a field. So it's kind of like that folder name already there would set people off. I would expect to have, whatever links Drupal put out, like an href or a menu or a breadcrumb or something like that in there, and it's a modifier for fields. So I put out just an idea of, quote unquote theme or logic, as I call it. As you build a theme for some clients and you end up building more and more and more, you use different metaphors to try to group your stuff. So you might have a folder called panels and one called view and one called like page or other or different names. And me and David was like banging heads back and forth over it in different concepts. And one of the things David came up with was as well, like, do we have the same kind of name structure or file structure as we have in the CSS, where we have a very specific way of naming stuff, and it still work up towards the module, so we have an idea where stuff comes from, but there's definitely a file structure, there's definitely a structure in the whole way Smax is doing things, and that kind of idea of how do we actually do this. And the problem is that there's not really anywhere, and the thing is that Drupal has never been out of the box as well. So I think I today mentioned that people were under Stockholm syndrome. So we have an idea of what Drupal does is good, because that makes sense to us because we have been under the Drupal way of thinking for so many years. So it suddenly makes sense to us that a node is rendered and there is a region around it and there's a field somewhere and like all of these things. But when you begin to look at it from I just do markup, I don't care how Drupal does it, it do not make sense not to group it by what it does. So grouping by, this is navigation elements, this is form elements, this is different ways of thinking it. And that's basically what we're up at. It's not so bad. It's only 105 comments at this point. I've created 4 or 5 different versions of how to regroup it and put a couple of screenshots in it. Also to try to steer the discussion in a way so I want to get it to a point where we talk about theming experience. So when we look at a file structure, it somehow makes sense to us instead of this makes sense if you're a machine, or this reflects how stuff does in core, because that's never been the idea as I see it with the theme system for Drupal 8. The idea has always been a themer should be able to work without even know how Drupal core works or Drupal at all works. It seems like we're getting to a point now where there's some kind of agreement that what we want to do the connection from Drupal core and up to classy. So if you have a template file that's not in the same folder as you created it, we would put in like an original template comment. So a themer who want to know where does this come from. And again, this is only if the themer takes the whole of classy and copy that out. If they just go in and take each template, the file structure won't matter. But the idea is to have a point to the original template and also a point to example usage. So, for example, let's say you have a node template. It would actually say that, hey, go to /node/ a node ID to see it being used. That kind of documentation, because we have a lot of templates that can be hard to understand where they come from, and there's also a theme experience when by not only having, oh, by the way, here we call this P process, here we do this, here we do that, but actually explaining what does this file do, as themers do work, a lot of the stuff they do is visual. I would love to have all depending on S files is actually called from the system to this template, so you get that connection as well. But at this point, I'm not sure it's even necessary because we do not know yet how classes CSS structure will be. and probably going to take a couple of weeks before we really know that, because at the same time as we're having this discussion, I'm also running through core and burning away classes and trying also to do CSS links burning. So we're killing a ton of CSS that's not necessary, that suddenly removes a lot of module-dependent CSS files. So this is also, as I see, this is a part of cleaning up and also figuring out what classes should be. So that's been the discussion this week. And David has been very pushing on getting some kind of system into it, so it's not just what does the theme feel this week, because that's going to burn ourselves down in 4 months, which is probably true. Yeah, I think we should give it, over the weekend or something. I don't want to use a fuck ton of time on it, and I put it out on Twitter. I put it out on every Facebook group I know. I put it out at U.S. time, so it was in the morning, and did the same thing in Europe. And I think when we have a solution that those of us who have passion for this idea, when we have a solution, we should again start another call to say, hey, come in and comment on this. It is very few people who actually at this point cares, which also makes sense because it is arbitrary, and I had to explain to many people what classy actually is. They didn't get the basic idea behind classy versus stark versus 7 versus bardic, which we have Stockholm syndrome, all of us, and we really need to make people unlearn what they have learned over all the years, but that's another discussion. So basically, I would suggest that we don't use a ton of more time on it. We've been battling back and forth a couple of days. Me and Dave should probably sit down and see if we can find some agreement on a first draft for the concept that I think is about to kind of build up, and see if we can come up with a structure. I would love to see this go in iteration where we're actually putting stuff in, because we can keep moving files around until we reach candidate 1, because at that point the only 2 themes that will be depending on the files we're moving around is 7 and bardic, so we can pretty much do what we want when we figure out, oh, here we actually made a mistake, because it's only us who's going to work with this.
That's the part I don't agree with. I don't know that they're going to let us keep moving things around. So that's why I'm in no hurry to change it just now. Like if it takes us a couple more weeks, that's fine.
My problem by letting things like this hang for 2 or 3 or 4 weeks is I really want to get to a place where we begin to see the template structure, the CSS structure, the CSS class name structure, the whole theme world, the things that we're working on the visual side, and have to being able to combine these things in so we can actually make it into a system, instead of we're working in small little boxes. Be like, oh, here's our block, here's our menu, here's our node. I
don't want to have to change things later. That's why I'm not in a hurry.
One thing about changing things with these folders, because the templates are file based, and the folder actually really has no value to the system. They are just there for our purposes. They should be able to change without having to.
No, I'm not worried about the technical details of it. I'm worried about us going through all this work and creating a new folder structure, committing it, and then 6 weeks from now deciding we want to change a bunch of things, and WebChick or OxPod jumps in and goes, you did this once already, why are you doing it again? And I don't want to have that argument.
It usually sounds like there's going to be there's going to probably be some time before this actually gets in, but
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm fine waiting till, because we still have to get views in, and we still have to get the text one in. So if we're still mulling it over for a couple weeks while we get those in and see if we change our minds about anything, I don't think that hurts anything.
And is there any points of contention that's in there right now, just so kind of we're aware of where things are confusing or don't make sense?
My issue is that so one of the things I want to get done as well is I want to get all of those admin templates. I want to get them cleaned out as well, and I want to move them up into Classy. The sooner the better, because my biggest fear is that we are not going to be able to look at the whole template system in a big connection until like very late in the process, and then suddenly we're going to do all these panicky things because somebody took a decision. And we can't really move all admin templates up in Class.
So that's actually an issue, right? If you are still thinking about trying to get those admin templates in, then I think we need to think about where they're going to go. Because if you're just going to stick them all in that admin folder, now we're going to have 50 templates in that folder.
Yeah, and that's why I want to do this in iterations. I mean, as we do this idea of we're doing one patch and then it's just fixed, that's never going to happen. We're not going to be able to get anything done then. Everything is just going to sit and wait on each other. And one of the things that kills us is it is so hard to get momentum on these things. If everything is just going to be coming into the issue queue and then having 25 different things that didn't move at all, so we don't have any progress. And I know we shouldn't just have progress just to have progress, but we need to get, now that we finally have ripped ourselves away or almost away from core, we need to be able to build the theme system that we want out of Classy and out of the classes we want, and build stock and body on top of that so it actually works.
Right, but the way the templates are organized, building those things, that's not dependent on the template organization.
No, it's so the whole, as I see the whole theme experience, that goes from pretty much the second I look into Classy, and I go up from there. I do think that a template file. We also have template files that we can now see that we should begin to actually group together. There's a lot of small things that we need to get to, and by beginning to
right, but none of those small things are waiting on us to reorganize the template directories.
Well, as I see it, it's a chance for us to work on what does this template do? Why is it even here? Could it be combined with something else?
Right, that's all we can do now.
Well, by grouping the files, it will begin to make sense. It's just a folder with almost 150 files in, and it's going to be for a very exclusive little group of people to understand what actually goes around.
It does help.
That's kind of one of my fears. Like, we're making it harder for ourselves.
It does help visualize that a little bit too, especially with those giant screenshots. Because one thing that I notice is, like, I'm looking at these ones that I've seen in the past, but maybe I forgot to make an issue or forgot about what issue would have been for the consolidation of them. But I looked at aggregator feed and aggregator items. Like, there's no reason an aggregator item would ever live outside of an aggregator feed. So why do we have two templates for that? So that's where we need to look at that kind of thing. But there's yeah, I'm just thinking that it does really help for the kind of seeing like an overall look at the templates to see them all in one spot. You're like, oh crap, why do we have X, Y, and Z?
To me, it's another thing to make sure that we actually have grouped stuff the right way. The earlier we get the first version, the earlier people can actually begin to look at it, and we can get real feedback on it. And yes, we're probably going to have to move 10 to 20 files around, but that is 10 to 20 files we move around based on feedback.
That's the part I'm concerned about. I don't know that we're going to get a version 2.
Why would we get a version 2?
I don't want to be in a. I'd rather version 1 be the screenshots in the issue, and version 2 be another set of screenshots. I don't think we need to commit to whatever the organization is this weekend.
No, I'm not saying we've got to,
It's the
but
kind of
waiting
thing
for.
that requires a process, and we're going through that process, and it's getting a lot better. And I don't mind that process continuing for a few days more or a week or whatever. Like, I don't think we need to decide on that right now and try to
What
get
I'm
it committed.
saying is that if we don't get this shit done within like 2 or 3 weeks, then we're putting ourselves in a situation where we have all of these mental blockers. So there's all of these other things we cannot get started with because we have a thing that is,
But what? What do you?
well, how to put it?
Why is the organization of the templates a blocker for you getting started?
Because when you have an organization of the template files, you begin to get a visual map in your head of where does stuff actually live, why is this template, what does it do, how does it do it. When you have that and you begin to have your class name structure built up, then you begin to have that mind map as well. When you have that mind map built up the way our CSS files is organized, then you can actually begin to do patterns that begins to make sense for each element, and you can begin to combine the different elements way, way better instead of just having this complete. The way Clash is right now is a complete mess, and that's why I want to make it in steps better. I don't buy the argument that if we say, well, in a week we take a version 1 decision on this and we need to get feedback on it, but we cannot get feedback on it if I have to get themers to download Drupal core, then roll a fucking patch on top of it, and then get feedback from them if this makes sense. That's never going to happen. So we're going to end up waiting 3 months where there are only going to be people who's deeply into Drupal core that can even give us feedback on it. And then suddenly that stuff comes out, and then we begin to patch everything on top of it. Instead of we take a process that says, well, we're going to do this over 3 different labs. We're going to do a version 1 right now as what we can see. We can begin to group the files and the structure away in another way that we would usually do. If we figured out, well, this makes no sense, or nobody really understands it, well, then we will just have to go back and change it around. The idea of we can't move a file, trying out loud, I got renamed all the icon files this week because it didn't make sense to not call them .theme. And I can't see the reason why we wouldn't be able to do this in one step after each other. To me, this is so much about the theming experience. It's so much.
I understand what you're saying, and I completely am on board with what you're saying process-wise. I just think if we're going to try to proceed like that, we should at least discuss it with Angie and Alex, just to make sure that they're not going to put up a roadblock.
I would love to do that. I would love to also have use the time for it. But I do think this is one of the things that we have never thought about before. This is one of the things that, the first thing I need every time I work on a new project, whether it's in other themers it is, you use a couple of days to even figure out where stuff is living at, and everybody groups in all kinds of different ways. Or they just drop everything into one big ass folder and hope for that. But yeah, let's to round up. I would love an idea of us saying we're going to do a version 1 of a file structure system in about, let's say, a week. We put a time box this year. In about a week, people have had a chance to speak up. There is enough people who have an opinion, so nobody can run with the ball. I've been tackled 400 times so far, which is fine. We talked with Angie and Alex about it and figured out what do they feel about it. Any bloggers, any mental bloggers, any whatever, that they would say complete mess if we come in a month and a half and say, well, we now have feedback from all of these themers and nobody can find anything and we fucked it up. Would that be a huge issue, or would that just be like running a patch and anything on it?
Yeah, that's also if we can talk to them and tell them we're going to commit it, we're going to come up with a decision, commit it like this. If we decide we need to change our mind later, we change the name of a folder, move something, change the organization, and then they say before RC1 you guys can do whatever the hell you want, then fine.
Yeah.
Go with it.
Yeah. Yeah. what I think we should do then is, first of all, if we find like file patches up against files, we're like, okay, this does not make sense if this is the rule for this folder. But we need to get, I do think we need to get feedback from everybody from experienced to non-experienced themers and be more of a, here is our suggestion, and this is what we want to have you to try to do, of finding some way of testing it, even if it's just packing a folder as a zip file and put a link up to it and say, dear themer, download this and try to look at the files, or something like that. So we maybe can or something.
Yeah, that's
just get some data back. We already have some data on stuff, but nobody have thought about we would like reorganize stuff or what we would do with these. Like, how many files is it? 60 something files we're gonna have to organize somehow. So all right, but I'm gonna see if I can get hand on Alex tomorrow and ping him about it. He's gonna ping you as well, and then there's another idea I got in my head, which I could see have been working really well for me, because now we're finally here where we can, where I at least can get to work without fucking up PHP, and that is hammering on templates and moving along, which has been a great fun. The best thing has actually been that there has been people sitting in the other end who have been reviewing my patches, which has been awesome. I was wondering if should we try to think in a system or something to do that thing with like having people to review patches when somebody, or like having, I don't know, organize it in some way. It's been highly motivating for me not to have a patch floating around for like 5 days before I got an answer. I pretty much got an answer within an hour or 2 hours. And I'm guessing, I know Lowry have been saying that earlier, that's been hard for him to keep the motivation, because you put a patch in and then it takes 3 days before anything goes. Is there any way we could, anybody who has a good idea for that, or should I just hunt down Joel every time I see him? Which also works, but I don't know, we have patch duty or something?
Yeah, the small patches are easy to review, and you saw whenever you sent me something that started to get bigger than, like, I don't know, 4K or something like that, I'll be like, I don't have time.
No, so, exactly. No, that's the other thing. I think we should. I mean, having as small patches as possible, and just so we can get stuff fixed. I mean, even that I got to change 3 other patches today because I got that renaming of icons in yesterday.
Also, it's nice to have somebody online at the same time, just to kind of to ping. It's hard if you're like calling into an empty room and saying, "Is there anybody here to look at my patch?" and there's nobody.
Yeah.
So
it was just if somebody has an idea of why, or no, not why, but how.
It's a general problem. It's hard to get people to review.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no, I know at the work I'm on right now, I've been pretty much the only one who have been reviewing patches.
What are you changing? Are you changing core CSS? Or are you changing 7 or Bartek CSS?
both.
I'm changing 7 and Bartek and core CSS. I'm changing file names on CSS files. I'm, me and Joel hammered out menus yesterday, 2 days ago.
Yeah.
When we find some of this, we get
If you're doing that 7 or Bartek, that's really what Lewis and Emma should be doing.
Yeah.
They should be reviewing patches.
Yeah. No, I'm throwing them at them as well.
Yeah,
but I
Lewis
also
picked up a couple of the 7 ones.
when we're hammering on, when we're using the CSS links, actually the amount of, I think one of the issues you talked about 2 weeks ago, David, was the issue of what are we going to do with all the CSS that core drags around with it. And now after hammering CSS links on core a lot of days in a row, beginning to see how a lot of the core CSS is written. It's kind of, now that we're using SMAX and object-oriented CSS, I think actually that whole fear of how much CSS will bring down with us will go away as soon as the 7 and bottom is up and running for reals. Because it's, I mean, when we look through each module and see how little CSS there is in the module.css file, it appears to be almost, I would say almost stupid that we have a CSS loader system. But I understand the need for it. I think we put a CSS file for everything in it because there's so little stuff that's actually needed. But it's a really, really good exercise for us right now to get through what is it we have in the grand scheme of things. Right, Laura. Anyways, that was just my two things in my head today.
Mm-hmm. No, I think you're right. Like as we've been moving the templates, all this, like the majority of the CSS I find is in a small file, and it's adding some margins on something, or it's like doing like clear fix type stuff, or like things that just don't need to be there at all.
Yeah. No, and I totally understand why it's been there, because there's been no, even though we've had CSS system maintainers before, it's taking me like a day and a half to fix 5 files to go through it and feel I didn't break something, going back again. So it's work that takes a long time, which gets me to the next thing I was thinking in my brain. Because I've been pretty much working today because I haven't had my daughter this week, so I've just been able to geek out. I do think we should set up a Drupal core Bardic 7 Classy sprint some weekends when we begin to get a little bit more in shape and we begin to see the big pictures. We should set up maybe not an open sprint, but a sprint somewhere, and at least I'm going to talk with the Europeans about if we should see if we can find funding and fly in somewhere and find a whiteboard and hammer on it. Because some of these CSS discussions is way better to have in person. I mean that Emma and Lewis is both down in Zurich, so for me that would be a 2 hour and a half flight or something. I probably can do it pretty cheap.
Well,
if you could coordinate that and have some of you guys in the States as well.
Are there any camps that anybody's going to that are coming up?
You got mid-camp, right?
Yeah, that's next month.
That's next month, yeah. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to go to Dev Days, and not so much of just simply because there's little reason for me to go.
I was supposed to go to mid-camp. Is anybody else going to mid-camp?
I think Lori is, right?
Yeah, Lori's going.
Yeah.
Joel's not going.
Yeah. So, yeah, my idea was to set up a weekend where we really get to try to not so much write code, but get the meta on the CSS completely done, or maybe having, do a big ass HTML page with all of the HTML in, and making sure that we have the class name structure and everything in a first state. I mean, it's great what we're doing right now, and as Joel did on the menu, say, hey, I can fix the menu right now. Let me just do that and let us put it into the patch, and we put in the menu __ blah 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 blah. But it just gives a better how to put it. Every time I've built big sites with a fuck ton of CSS, it always required us at some point to go back and rename classes to make them make more sense. Because sometimes stuff get a dumb name, and then you live with item list for the next 10 years or 8 years and 8 months. So I just seen that there might gonna be a good idea in like trying to find out. We have Front End United, but that's first in early June. And else there's LA, of course. I'm probably going to fly in early for LA and flying out again late, also because I have some family in LA I want to visit. That could be there could also be a possibility. I just think it might not be a good idea if we try to find a weekend where people were game and say, okay, let's try to hammer on this and sending stuff over. And we've done. I mean, we've done that before, so that would be possible.
I just posted in the issue queue that menu one, just so you can kind of see what happened there.
What?
The menu classes refactoring, essentially, trying to get them in line with the smacks idea, and so they got prefixed with menu item and stuff. So somebody can knock it back if they want to.
My bulldog is coming up and saying hi.
We're also looking at trying to get rid of the menu item leaf, because 80% of the time it's not used.
Yeah, and
it's not even used in core actually anymore. We ripped it out, and so the case is, if we want to remove it, let's figure out how we can document somebody that wants to put it back in, and just put it in the template. And if they can put it in the template, then
I was thinking that we could also split out into small. I mean, that would be a very small patch. Be like, we need documentation for how to remove menu leaf. Let's put that in so we can actually get code sprints. What I'm going to do in 2 weeks in London is I'm probably going to take a ton of like CSS lint issues or issues like that is really, really small that new people can actually look at and do something with. Same thing that Lewis has done.
I just was like, you know,
he had a bunch of, I got a fuck ton of stuff reviewed from people down in Bogota, because they just took the patch, reviewed it, took screenshots, made sure everything was okay, and put that stuff up. So I think I got like 3 issues RTBC today based on that. And there's some of those CSS issues is like straight up documentation. Write a solution.
Yeah, that one would be easy to spin off as a follow-up issue. Novice follow-up issue.
I mean, yeah. So I guess that my main concern right now, that's also why I've been like trying to cut off in our folder discussion the big changing core modules and changing everything around is I understand the fear from both David had and WebCheck and Alex had, that we would never get done and Classy would be in a shitty state and we would never get to work on the CSS. That the quicker we can clean up all the CSS so we actually know what kind of class names are we still bound to, what is actually essential, what can we rip out, what can we move around. The quicker we get all that done, the better. Because that can actually remove a ton of the work where we before have been, when we talked about green markup, the first variation of green markup was just figuring out, let's get a menu that's just a URL with a nav tag on. That would be the dream of the markup. The next step was like, hey, wait a minute, when we separate Classy from Drupal 4, how can we then do it? And I think that's also a way easier task now for people who don't necessarily know how to patch core or how to do all of those things. I mean, it took me a ton of years to actually get it into my fingers and figure out how to file a patch and how to file an. As Joel, you probably have seen, I'm now beginning to file interdifs of all of my stuff because then I get my shit committed faster. It's just, yeah, it is the stuff I have to learn to get you my way. That was not a part of the deal, goddammit.
But you know, if you have front-end people who are really good with the CSS, they can be doing reviews.
They can what?
They can do reviews. They don't need to be patching. Like those people will be really
that's
good.
That's what I want to do. I want to have us to get up with an overall file structure and CSS structure and all of that stuff. So we have because they can actually understand what goes on. And then we can drop that and then say, here's the new template file. Here's our new template system. Here's the CSS. Download this zip we put up. Can you understand this? This is the one issue that's about, menu leaf. This is the this is the stuff it puts out. Look at the template. Does it make sense? what would you do? Is there other things we could do? Can we remove leaf? This is the 10 things we want to do. That is way easier to get, non-code savvy people to answer on than instead of, and also being able to explain to them, this is how the overall system is, so we don't have to go through the usual Drupal task of explaining to people that, yeah, this is also done on certain restraints, and we have a deadline and we need to get stuff done. So that's why I'm a little bit anal about pushing this folder stuff, because I think that's going to be that and cleaning out course templates, which we can already see now is creating all kinds of funny issues. I'm happy to see it done, and I can begin to see how we're getting to that place that some of us talked about for 3 years ago in Amsterdam. What we wanted to see is, it's lovely to see it happen. I'm just screamingly nervous that they suddenly get everything done in core, and then we have RC1 out, and we're fucked. I don't know how far we are away from that, but I would rather push in 4 hours each day for the next 2 months, and then we actually have a front-end system that we can then get real feedback on from people who just want to build a theme, and they can build it on an upgradable path.
We have 54 criticals left.
What?
We have 54 criticals left.
54 criticals left. Okay, that's going to take a while, but still, the quicker we can get the first version of our idea to template files, CSS files, class names, and all that stuff in, and the quicker we can make a documentation page with all of that stuff in, and we can even get John Albin and his RSS node, whatever, to create a style guide, so we can push this out to non-Drupal people and get feedback, or just get feedback also from the general community of how does this feel, how is this, and those who's interested in it will hopefully crack the ball and come with feedback to us, and if nobody cares, we're just going to run with it. But I think it's important to get to a point fast, and then we might want to have some cleanup behind the scenes like we have right now on all the core templates, which I know is going to be my task to clean out all that shit, which I'm fine with. I figured out I've been on Drupal project for 8 years and 8 months, so that's a fuck ton of hatred I can use as gasoline. And believe me, it feels good every time I remove a class, every time ClearFix dies. And we have one big ass the field, and I have no idea. I was trying to look at it earlier today. I have no. A what?
You cut out.
I said, well, I was looking through the templates, and there's one biggie thing that's still missing, and that's field. The field template, and kill the widgets.
Mm.
It has 11 errors right now on its on the last test, and I was just trying to look through some of the tests, and I have no clue what goes on.
That's in the F issue?
Yeah, I think so. Or maybe it's even separated.
I can probably take a look at that.
Yeah, because there's a whole issue on field that is, I think it's called Kill the Divitus. And watching on it, I know that
it's the other
me and Kotze started on it last year in. Yeah, it's long, and it's and that's on a template level. That's why I can see there's a real headache that we need to fix.
All right, I'll take a look at this. I think we can fix these tests.
Yeah. 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 Besides that, I think that's all for me. And I'm setting my work schedule up so I can I can start my morning by hammering a couple of hours on templates and CSS links, and then I take a couple of hours at night again. And I'm pretty much just gonna, I'm gonna firebomb as much into the QQ as possible, and I might gonna miss sometime, but fuck it.
Yep.
Yeah, fail more.
Yeah.
While we're here, does anybody know anything?
Oh yeah. I have another one for you, David. By the way, I'm trying to remove all of the template dump shit from Stark to make it completely naked. A what?
No, I was asking if anybody knew anything about the views templates. Why they're all failing tests.
I have no idea, and it's just every time I see these tests failing. You mean the thing where you're copying the templates over?
Yeah, all I did was copy the templates to Classy.
Because that's my favorite, because that just makes no sense whatsoever.
Failing.
I thought that was like RTBC earlier today, wasn't it?
No, to copy the views templates?
Oh, sorry, I'm thinking of the phase one. Never mind.
Yeah, that's in. That one's done.
Oh, okay.
I made a patch just to copy them to Classy, and just the act of putting them over there fails a whole bunch of tests.
That's good.
Because there's still theme functions in Drupal, like in Drupal 7, they were theme functions, and there's still theme functions in Drupal 8.
True.
So the only difference between that is that fact, I guess. And what it's supposed to be doing is picking up the theme function first, but I think we might have reversed that. Oh, wait, that's not right. Yeah, it is right. Scott, we converted that, didn't we? The
template is the default.
We have 141 fails on copying.
But I think
the
there's only one template that's like a dummy template.
Yeah, I think it's like views, view field.
So what I noticed is I was running the test locally, and if you look at the output, the ones that are failing, it's like it's escaping the output.
Okay.
It's really weird.
Yeah, I think potentially. I think
I saw the same thing while I was looking for the search template, and I was running a search just on my local, and I got like debug information and all kinds of crap out.
Do you know, David, if you check the source on that one, is it actually loading the right template?
I think the issue is probably that those templates kind of don't work, and there's no tests for them. Like since Auto Escape got in, so this last 2 out of the 3 issues that I just pasted in are for converting a views view field singular and plural to Twig, and I seem to recall that there was some issues there with those were failing tests for quite a while. Or one of them was, I think maybe field singular was.
Yeah, I actually get a lot of fails on things related to the fields plural.
Okay, so yeah, I don't know, like you might want to try.
Oh, they're getting concatenated on the output. No, that should be fine. Never mind.
Like I think the actual template itself might be buggy right now, so you might want to try with. You could create like a patch testing issue and throw up your patch plus maybe the plural views view fields convert to Twig and see if that works. See if it turns green.
I see. Okay.
Because I think basically, yeah, I think because it's both a theme function and a template, so I think the template version right now is probably buggy. The one that's actually in core now, not like the kind of reconverted one. So. Because I think there's probably some changes. Yeah, there's a bunch of changes to the actual template, so try that. I'm seeing there's kind of some issues with this template actually because there's spaces before it's printing the attributes. So that's good. So I might comment about that, but yeah, I mean the patch still applies.
I'm looking at the first patch on the plural, one.
Yeah.
And the tests that it fails are like all the exact same tests that my patch was failing.
Okay. So there you go.
Oh, and sorry, it's storing it's it's storing the generated markups right on there. So it's definitely that template you're talking about, David. It says field output, and then it's putting it right onto the content variable, but it's not marking it as safe at all. So it's of course not going to be printed out as markup.
All right.
It's going to be escaped. It's right there, line line 118 on the views theming. I don't know where I should fix that though. Which template? Should we move that?
Is it? I don't know. I get like, are you saying take care of that in a separate issue?
Likely, yeah. Just so that it doesn't kind of, I don't know, steamroll.
Yeah,
that
that sounds like a sensible approach, because probably it's easier to get that in than this Twig conversion.
Mm.
So
maybe able
yeah.
to build put some tests on it or something.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Because we could do like a test theme that overrides that template and make sure that stuff works.
Yeah, just for the view fields. I think that's the only one. So the other one doesn't actually have markup specific tags, whereas this one's actually making. This is actually something Jen brought up a while ago about pumping in variables to make different different tags. So this one's element type variable, and that makes like an H2 or a div or whatever, which is kind of the power behind views. It allows you to like wrap things specifically through the UI. You get to choose whatever tag you want, but that's part of the problem here. You type H2 and I don't know.
Well, it's views, right? So
yeah. So yeah. Anyways, I could make a follow-up to that one just so that they're tied at the hip. Which issue is that? Which?
It's the bottom one in the chat.
Okay.
I think because that's the plural one, and that's the one that's failing all the same tests that David's.
Yes, 747.
Is that okay if I split it off that, or what do you think, David?
Yeah, go ahead. I think that makes sense.
Okay.
Because like that, yeah, just I don't know. Leave tells an IRC or something, and we can try and get that pushed through pretty quickly.
Cool.
Because I think it's whatever fix you're talking about that I don't understand, plus the tests to just create like maybe could even use like an existing test theme and just add the template override there or something.
I'll let you look at the tests as soon as I make them, because I'll probably make them wrong.
Okay. Sure. Yeah, I just set that one to needs work for the spaces thing.
Yeah, the reason why it works without we put in a little trick that if it's the theme function, we just assume that it's safe. And it's being built out all inside of the theme function. So yeah, we've already assumed that everything's safe inside of the theme function, whereas in Twig, it's not.
So having said that, like, is it possible to fix? Well, I guess yeah, you could still fix the existing whatever it is, preprocess or whatever, right?
Yeah, it's not in a. I don't think it's actually in a preprocess. Oh no, it is a preprocess. Yeah, it's in a preprocess. I can fix it there.
Okay. Cool.
If it wasn't, I would just move it to the preprocess and deal with it there.
Okay.
It's one giant. That's a really giant theme function. Holy crap! It's over 100 lines.
Yep. Super fun.
I think it used to be bigger.
Bigger?
I think so. Yeah. I think we removed some stuff when I was doing some, like, getting rid of those, what are they called? Oh no, that's attributes. That's for rows. Never mind.
Oh, the zebra striping or something?
That one, that one, or the rows classes equals attributes something conversion.
Oh yeah, right, right.
Rows and fields classes.
Rows and fields. All right. Well, does anyone else have anything? Otherwise, I think we could wrap it up.
I do have one more thing. Did you guys see that issue they posted that was discussing removing the paths from template suggestions? Daniel Vayner posted that someplace.
No, it's not ringing a bell. That's a newer issue?
Yeah.
No, I can't hear any.
I'm trying to find.
Path suggestions?
Yeah, they were discussing getting rid of them, so we'd lose like page node-1.
Oh, the actual suggestions, not like classes or anything, but suggestions.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we don't need to have ID suggestions anymore. Did they say get rid of them all, or just like specific ones, or?
It wasn't. I think they were saying because they want to completely remove the path component from it.
Okay.
Oh.
Trying to find where it is.
Oh, because we have that on there. We've kind of, I think Morton, you were working on that a little bit too. Using the path part of the path to create the suggestions.
Yeah.
Yo guys, I need an ID for it to be able to see what it is. Thanks, because it's breaking in and out here as.
Yeah, we're waiting for it too, Morton. Don't worry.
Alright, sweet.
Yeah, I think Joel. Like I was thinking about that too, but I think that's like the body class thing that you're thinking of, maybe with like kind of trimming that down.
Oh, there in the like node suggestions, and this looks like it's the one, isn't it? David, the one that you just posted.
Yeah. Well, for using the node path.
Yeah.
So this technically works on more things than just a node path. So I don't know. Like I personally don't use this a lot. I don't know how often people actually do, but I do know that some people do.
Yeah. Okay. So I
would think that they want to get more of an opinion before.
I wouldn't complain if you remove that stuff with hook suggested based on a node ID, because it's generally very, very buggy, and people shouldn't theme that way, to be honest. If you want to have that stuff in, you could always write your own theme hook suggestion, right?
Yeah, you can write your own if you want.
I wouldn't make that a solution, because I know the only people I've seen do this are people that are not high-level themers.
Yeah, the reason I think they're also doing that is that so in Drupal 7, it's a pain in the ass to figure out where stuff comes from. It's a pain in the ass to figure out why it came there. It's kind of a guessing game all over, so you will always just go for whatever kind of thing to figure out to work. So you end up doing page -- NID1 for that page, because that was just the easiest thing you could make do. Or whatever it can be. It's just I wouldn't if they I wouldn't cry over it. Let me just put it that way. I couldn't imagine ever to do anything with a node based on its ID, because it's simply too risky. I don't the node ID is simply just the thing we have there, and I think it's one of the things that people have done because that was easy. I would much rather have us like developing snippets that says, hey, you want to use a specific template for if you add a specific term, being able to add term IDs or term elements or whatever it could be a level higher up, or having that as snippets. If this is so you could put that stuff into your .theme folder instead.
Well, what I've seen people do, and again, I've only seen people who are not high-level themers do it, is they'll do something like make half a dozen landing pages and get the node IDs of those landing pages, and then make custom page templates for all of them so they can structure it all out.
Oh yeah, that's a common use case, and that's done because one of the reasons people do that is they're like, how the fuck do I do this stuff? Oh, I have an ID.
So that's what I mean. Like, I don't personally care if it went away, but I figured before they do it, we should probably get some more opinions on there.
Yeah. I'm gonna have an opinion about it tomorrow or something.
Love it.
I can only take one. This is one of the things that I personally think the more theme hook suggestions that there is, the happier I am because it gives me flexibility when I need to get shit done. And it's one of the things that I really, if we have the node ID on it or not, I really don't care. I mean, I was in the discussion about removing the node ID from the node. I mean, the CSS ID, and the bike shit that bullshit turned into in the way I had to I did a shotgun wedding where it was both the maid and the groom who got a gun in their neck while I pushed that shit through. So it's, yeah, I don't know. If the wiener he wanna help us out fixing fields, I'm gonna give it a +1 on this. I'm perfectly down for horse trading node IDs out of the theme system to remove the images. Oh shit! This is recorded, right? This is gonna hunt me down.
Does anybody else have an opinion on it?
I don't really have one, to be honest.
Because I'm fine. I'll just comment in the issue and go, we talked about it in the Twig call and nobody cares.
I don't think I've ever used it, so I don't know.
I think if I needed it, I would add it back in, but and it would probably be on a case by case, not on a specific, like it would be on like a specific node, not on a like global. I want all my nodes to have this path suggestions on it. I would probably just be like, yeah, the specific one because it's this type and I need to deal with it in a unique way. So yeah, I don't really need to have something holding my hand for something that it's more of an advanced feature anyways. And yeah, but it also needs documentation updates just because the theming documentation references what templates are going to be loaded. Actually, it probably needs an update anyways because we changed that already. I don't know if somebody's updated it already.
Yeah, not sure. Because now I'm thinking that might be like almost need to be rebuilt for the D8 theme guide. Because there's like that big page that lists out all the theme suggestions, but that's all D7, and that probably still needs to stay there. So we probably need to create our own version of the, kind of reference page.
Yeah, what you get out of the box, kind of.
Or it can just be like, turn on Twig debug.
Yep.
I'm having an opinion about it right now because why not? No. I'm pretty much just fucking kill it if you want to. Just some documentation of how to add in new hook theme suggestions. I mean, we just need that snippet of code so you get an idea of what it is. How can I get this stuff in? And then we can take care of that.
It's not even really a themer thing. It's really more of a site builder thing.
Well, the thing is, in the theme, what I think is going to happen is that we're going to have a lot of those we call site builders who will actually be able to do a fuck ton of stuff directly in the theme. And they won't do as many crazy configuration things because if it's easy to do, and that's one of the many reasons I want to get rid of that add classes into views. Because the only reason we have that shit in is because that was how we did in Drupal 7.
Mm-hmm.
And again, people are so much under Stockholm syndrome that they think it's a good idea. But I also accept the world as it is, that I'm not going to take on the whole fucking community of removing a thing they like right now. I will put in a note somewhere so I can reference that back in 4 years and say I was fucking right. You were all wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about it. I think really the only use case is structural. If someone's trying to move regions around. But I think if you are kind of a newbie and a site builder, you probably end up using panels for something like that anyway. So I commented and said nobody cares.
Excellent. Should we end on that note?
Yeah. David, let's smack heads over the weekend over more ideas, and I'm gonna contact Alex tomorrow and talk with him how he feels about us fucking around in the template files. I hope that the rest of the world is like, you can do whatever the fuck you want down in Classy, as long as you make it in a way so we don't hear you guys bitch and moan ever again. Which is kind of my plan. And then see where we go when we have information on that.
All right, sounds good. I have a meetup to go to.
All right. Thanks everyone for coming. Till next time.
Bye.
Ciao.
Ciao.